I want to talk a little bit about how much the coup system affects the playability of Mage,
Okay.
because a lot of times, oh, it looks like
Oh,
the game's just
oh,
gonna get
okay.
started.
Also, you had to hold on to that thought for a while.
Yeah,
We're gonna see a warrior versus a mech mage, and Forsen is running the warrior. So now here's the situation of the crew system. Forsen, for example, if he doesn't want to play against this matchup with mech mage, he can just say coup it right away and use it right now. So he's actually thinking about that because once you confirm your mulligan, you cannot use the coup.
right. You have to use it before you've chosen which cards you want to throw back.
That's right.
Um, this is another sort of tricky situation too because Deathlore is not cooing here, and when he doesn't coup, it really gives Forsen a little bit of interest. So wow, Forsen's actually going to coup
Oh,
right here. So Forsen got a good bit of information here when he sees that Deathlore doesn't want to coup this,
mm-hmm.
and there's kind of two sides to this. Number one, he's playing like a freeze mage style control deck, and if that's the case, he's going to want to coup warrior from Forsen. So when Forsen doesn't choose to coup, he
Oh,
gets a better idea that he's playing against potentially a more aggressive mage deck, something like Mech Mage, which isn't a very good matchup for Warrior, mainly because of Snowchugger being able to shut off the utilization from your weapons. So when
that's
he
true.
waits to coup there, it's such a good play from him and like such a good read. This is like one of the things that he's best at is using those little tiny intricacies within the game to understand what his opponent's ranges are there. So I think that's an excellent play there from Forsen.
Wow, that actually, yeah, that seems to make more sense now that you explained it, right? He did wait till the very, very final second. It would be funny if Deflor was actually a freeze mage and they were both just waiting each other out.
Yeah, I
That
mean
would
that's
be funny.
that's the benefit. You should be thinking about your coup for a long time to avoid giving that information to your opponent.
That's true. But now Deflor is now going to not be able to pick his mage ever again in this series. But then, like, he can actually pick a deck into the warrior. So I would still say the advantage is in Deflor's position. He can also use the coup later on if he so chooses. But I believe it's going to be a druid coming up against this warrior.
Yeah, I'd be pretty surprised if it wasn't Druid coming out unless his Warlock deck is really oriented at kind of dismantling a warrior. Like sometimes
Right?
Zoo decks can get really out of hand for warrior, but I feel like Druid's just so strong against warrior right now that that's what I imagine seeing him pick here. So it's also pretty good foresight the fact that he has Mech Mage and Druid in here. So if either one gets cooed against a warrior, he can just queue up either one that he needs. So Forsen has definitely, I think he's mitigated a lot because I certainly think Mech Mage has a better matchup against Warrior than Druid does.
All right.
But Druid still, I would still give the edge to Druid here if he chooses to queue that.
And I think Zoo is still really, really strong as warrior. However, I think the Zoo style of warlock has dropped out quite recently, right? I haven't seen a Zoolock in ages.
Yeah, I haven't really been seeing them on ladder either. Most of the ones I've been
Yeah.
seeing are either Handlock or some variant of like the Arcane Golem, Power Overwhelming Faceless
Sure,
Manipulator
yeah,
combos,
that
where like
crazy one.
yeah, they focus a lot on just removing stuff and going from there. And so no coup here from Deathlore, and obviously no surprise by that. And his opening hand is
Oh
excellent.
no, Forsen's hand is
Oh my
terrible. Look
gosh.
at that. That is terrible.
Okay, that's a little bit of a pickup here.
But
If you draw something like a whirlwind, this hand gets a lot better suddenly. But again, Deathlore's hand is just wow. This is a great
dude,
hand right now.
is
He
Defo
could,
actually gonna pump out a turn two Spectro Knight?
yeah, he certainly could, and that's actually going to be one of the bigger problems for Warriors, is because execute can't be used on that.
Oh,
Wow, and
he
he
doesn't
chooses
do it.
actually
He
to
doesn't
hold
do it.
on
That
to it
is really
instead.
interesting.
Second execute for Forsen now, but no way to activate him yet. So it looks to me like this game it's going to develop a little bit slower than the Deathlord could have initially. Like obviously, if he knew what Forsen's hand was, he would have played this Spectral Knight as quickly as he
Right.
possibly could. But something that he's looking forward to is being able to potentially save that innervate to do something like an early Savage Roar Force Nature combo, or maybe even if the game has to extend long enough, he waits till like turn 10 and hopes to draw a second Savage Roar and tries to get in the 22-point combo using the second Savage Roar along with the innervate. That's something else that's possible.
And to be honest, if you do the turn two Spectral Knight play, then your turn three would be kind of awkward if you don't draw anything. So I think keeping the
Yeah.
innervate is fine. But then you really want to draw cards like Ancient of Lore or even big creatures to really
That's
make use of those cards.
so that's certainly something he's thinking about too, is his curve considerations. Again, if he didn't draw something on turn 3, he's just going to hero power. So he's basically turning the innervate into 4 points of damage at that point.
So like if Defler's really thinking about this Spectral Knight decision, I mean, what really punishes this? I mean, I'm thinking maybe Crew Taskmaster and Fire War Axe. But
Yeah, that definitely could. I think something else he's thinking about though is just the potential to deny cards here.
okay.
Acolyte this is one of the key cards of Warrior decks. When this card gets out of control, they just have too many options available to them. And I think that when he plays the Keeper of the Grove here, it's pretty indicative of the fact that he wants to try to keep his opponent's options to a minimum.
Mm-hmm. Forsen's gonna use Shield Block to find some more cards that he can play, but unfortunately it's
Alright.
another big bomb. So he's gonna have
Yeah.
to survive this initial onslaught from Delethor. Well, it's not really onslaught, it's just
Yeah, I'd actually be really surprised if he didn't play this Shading X Ramas here. I mean,
yeah,
you know, Brawl's something he's going to think about, of course, but um, gosh, I mean, I see a lot of value in it. He's going to choose to hold it off, and you know, I can. Oh my gosh! And look, Iron Beak Owl is picked off straight away, and now this Spectral Knight's going to be able to get dealt with so easily from a Shield Slam. That was such an important turn for Forsen now, because we talked about how his hand was staggering in the early game.
Yeah, that's
But now look at his hand. I mean, if he gets through a relatively clean turn 6, he's going to scale into a 7, 8, and 9 drop.
Yeah, I mean that owl is pretty good, and we noticed that there was a while that Warriors didn't really want to run Silence, because like why would you want to run such a weak card, right? But with all these buffs going around, and even Paladins being insane with like Tyrion and stuff like that, running Silence is really feasible in Warrior, and Forsen gets rewarded by that. But now Delethor, on the other hand, he has 2 shades, and they're gonna start growing if there's no answer for them soon.
It's tough to answer these, so
very tough as a Warrior.
Yeah, Forsen's turn 5 is looking pretty poor at the moment. And it looks like Delethor's really considering using this Innervate to take out this Iron Beak Owl too. I'm not sure how important that Iron Beak Owl is at the moment. He's gonna go ahead and go with it.
Well, it seems like the Innervate, the longer the game goes, the less value it is. You mentioned that the Innervate could have been used to, you know, get the shade out an earlier turn. So, I mean, if Delethor doesn't do that, then he might as well use it now.
Second Shield Slam pick. I'm curious if he ever wants to Shield Slam the Keeper of the Grove here.
I mean, it's kind of a druid, but did Delethor actually reveal any cards to symbolize that he is a, you know, more of an aggressive druid? I guess Spectral Knight is one of the key cards, right? Because Rampage plays Belcher instead.
Yes, I mean, the Spectral Knight certainly is an indicator, and then of course 2 Shaded Next Ramus is also an indicator. Strifecrow was running 1 copy of Shaded Next Ramus in a ramp deck he played, where I saw him play about a week ago, where he was running a couple Zombie Chows and then you know, a few 3-drops to kind of shore things up. Big Game Hunter comes in hand, so
that's gonna be kind of handy.
Yeah, definitely some check here on what's going on, but again, Forsen's hand's just so big. But these shades might end up being too much to deal with when he couples that with Force Nature Savage Ore. He's getting another 4 points of damage off this Savage Ore. So, you know, these boom bots, you know, he's gonna need these to like kill shades, which is a pretty tall order right now.
Yeah, especially with 2 targets as well.
Oh my gosh, this is gonna be kind of an ugly turn here for Forsen, and then he's even got combo available to him next turn. I mean, this could 14, 20, 24. I mean, this could be potentially lethal next turn if this board isn't checked properly.
Yeah, I mean, Delethor right now has a very smooth turn. He can just swipe the Acolyte, for example, and then BGH the Dr. Boom and have a clear board.
He could just BGH the Dr. Boom and play Pilot Shredder. That's another very reasonable option available to him.
That's true. Where's
See how these boom bots go?
3 and unfortunate. That shade does not die.
Yeah, this is a really
this is looking terrible for Forsen now.
Yeah. 24, 20. Yeah, I mean, this is lethal damage available next
turn. It's a million damage.
It's a million.
Yeah. And Forsen does not have a million health at the moment, so it's kind of troubling.
I imagine this Ragnaros is going to get yellow next turn.
Whoa!
Wow, and look at this. Delethor even adding up the numbers and realizing that unveiling this shade to get 4 extra points of damage is potentially something that's worthwhile. So,
now he's got very good attack, actually.
Oh gosh. Oh, he's gonna have to use execute this turn.
No, is he actually thinking of like replacing his axe? Oh no. Okay.
Yeah, I think he wants the armor up.
All right. Well, here is like 29 health, and the combo only deals say 7 plus 14 right now, so not quite just yet.
21 damage, but
Wildgrove is a dead card.
Yeah, right now it's dead. He's gonna have to wait till next turn to do that. Yeah, I tried to coin Wild Growth one time.
And
yeah, that doesn't work. That mana gets consumed before.
Oh, yeah. Don't you think Wild Growth is one of those cards that's just so weird, right? I don't know. It feels like Wild Growth shouldn't be able to draw your card when you're at 10 mana, because no other cards have such kind of thing, right? Where if it doesn't work, then you get something else.
Yeah, it's a sort of unique effect. I think the major trade-off there was that it's so good in the early stages and then so bad in the late stages that
It's so bad.
they needed something to justify playing it.
That's true.
But forcing a couple of options available to him now, and Ragnaros looks like an appealing one to me.
Oh, I love
I
Ragnar
think,
here. He
yeah, I
cannot
think
execute the Shredder guy though.
Oh, Amaz loves Ragnaros here? No.
Oh my god. But uh
I think there's some justification to playing Alexstrasza though. I mean, he's seen Big Game Hunter.
mhm.
If his opponent doesn't have combo next turn, Forsen knows he's still got coin in his hand. So his range in 4 cards would have to be Force Nature and Savage Roar.
Which does kill him right now though.
Yeah, it does kill him. So, but I think there is merit to playing Alexstrasza here, and trying to make a push to end the game because the longer this game goes on, the more likely it's going to be that Deathlord gets to the Force Nature Savage Roar. So he's got to find a way to
Ragnaros does have a very high chance of cleaning something up.
Yeah, I love the Ragnaros play. This is an important hit. He needs to hit that Shaded next Ramas.
Oh!
Wow, and he picks it off.
Good. Oh, he's still in the game. Wow.
Oh my gosh.
And now Delethor is well, he just picked up a Drake, so that's something to play at least. But look at this. This Ragnaros is gonna go unchecked unless you spend the combo to kill it. But you don't do that. You're not gonna do that.
Oh my gosh, he gets Wrath, so that's not gonna be quite enough yet. This
Oh,
Wild Growth's gonna have to see if he can pick up something else.
right.
You know, that coin actually could come in handy if he picks up like another piloted shredder or something.
That's true. But aggressive druids like these usually do not run 2 BGHs, right? That would be silly.
I would assume not. 2 BGH is a bit ambitious.
Yeah.
I would say. He can also pick up a second Wrath here, though. A second Wrath with the Azure Drake would allow him to take out Ragnaros too.
Oh yeah, that could be a
lot of potentially important draws.
And is Lotheb one?
No, it's not.
No, it's not. That is unfortunate. Is he just gonna wrap for more card draw even?
Yeah, I think he's just gonna pick up a card here.
Alright.
Hope for the
Not
best.
gonna work. Oh, that's okay. At least he has a pretty good turn 10 next turn. But Forsen now has a Rag on board, and he just needs a good way to deal with all these creatures.
Forsen, I think, actually has a very high potential to stabilize right now. Let's say he takes out this Azure Drake with his Death Spite, uses Armor Up and plops down Armor Smith. His opponent, I mean, he's just out of lethal range because of the Armor Up.
Just out of it.
Yeah. His opponent's going to be 1 damage off lethal, actually, if this Mech Warper lives, though.
Yeah.
That's if this Mech Warper lives. So this Ragnaros hit, again, really important, takes out the Mech Warper. And I think this is a big sigh of relief for Forsen at this point because this is very, very high potential to stabilize now. He's got Execute.
For Delethor, he has the Druid of the Claw in charge for him, so he might just go, pretty YOLO here. But then the thing is, like, do you keep this Armor Smith alive? Because there is a Death Smite that's equipped, and that's even more health. And if you kill it, you're wasting 4 damage as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's something he's got to think about. I mean, Lotheb and Druid of the Charge seems like a good turn for me, but again, the Lotheb's going to shut off your opponent being able to play Execute and playing a big minion, so that's something that's really important. But how much value do you have in just the 4 extra damage right now? Because again, there's still an Armor Smith on board. Your opponent still is going to have access to Execute and maybe even Shield Slam if you make plays like this. So these are all things he has to weigh. And I mean, I can see merit to comboing here and just clearing out this board position, but he's not going to try to fight the attrition battle. He's just going to go on the aggressive.
Druid of the Charge it is, and
oh my gosh,
he's just. Oh my god. Wait.
Okay, how much? He has 10, 8. He only has 19 damage available, so there's no lethal potential this turn.
Well, 19 damage if Rag listens to what Forsen says. Well, okay. You could try and clear the board with your weapon and then Alexstrasza yourself, but then you also need Ragnaros to kind of like. Actually, no, you can't live that way. Can you?
You can live that
way.
Oh,
you can't live because you have Armor Smith.
Yeah, because he's got the Armor Smith out. So there's also the potential. Again, he's seen BGH at this point too, and he's seen one Keeper of the Grove. So using Grommash here strictly for value, it really feeds into what his game plan is too, which is he's been trying to just get more value out of his opponent and stabilize through a position where Force Nature and Savage War was a possibility. So to see him use Grommash here would not surprise me. The play that I don't want to see is Alexstrasza himself post a Death Spite hit.
Okay.
That's the one I don't want to see because that puts him in a possibility to lose to something like Force Nature Savage War.
My greetings on Delethor. Oh man, giving him some Forsen extra pressure. He's hovering over Grommash. He has to think a little bit faster. Oh, he's gonna go with the. Oh, he get Death Spite first and then play the Grommash and Armor Up.
Yeah, he's got to make a decision though. He's running out of time.
Yeah, if he plays Grommash first, he gets an extra armor. What is he doing? What is he doing? Oh, he's gonna use
So
execute instead
he's gonna go with
and
execute.
play armor, and he still goes above the
Yep.
magical 15.
Yep. He's still 1 point out of range.
Oh man.
Forsen's got
Okay.
pressure now to potentially start ending this game. Deathlord's only got one play available to him unless he draws something really good here. Mind control tech is going to allow him to put a second minion on the board, but my gosh, this is coming so close. And he's still got some draws that could be like amazing here too. Like if he picks up an Innervate and a Savage Roar, the second copy of Innervate and the second copy of Savage Roar,
Oh yeah.
there's just almost no way Forsen's going to win that game. So
Yeah.
Ancient of Lore drawing 2 cards here, but he's also got to be worried about potential lethal from his opponent. Like say he plays Ancient of Lore, and then his opponent just decides he's going to Grom him,
Right.
say some sort of activator. He's got to worry about the Ragnaros hit and where it goes.
Well, unfortunately, the Druid in this position, it's just that time where you need to kill your opponent, right? You can't really worry about lethal. So just
Yeah,
the
I
play
agree.
that sets up the best way to lethal your opponent is the play you're gonna make. And Delethor does choose to do the 2 bodies. Oh,
Taskmaster gets picked up.
but that's not lethal.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
Oh, man.
Forsen's got more plays available to him here. He could even cruel Taskmaster, the Ancient of Lore,
Oh,
and
and then yeah, I can
afterwards.
snipe it off. But
But he's
then,
got to do.
but then Ragnaros, if it misses, then it's still dead. So
Yeah, I mean, he's got to do something to take care of this board. So it looks to me.
oh, he's doing that play. That means Ragnaros needs to hit the MC Tech or he's dead. Right? Oh man.
So MC Tech is going to give him 50. It's going to give him 20 total damage. Forsen's up to 18. Wow, this Ragnaros shot is going to have to take out this mind control tech.
And
Can he get a third one?
no!
Finally misses. And
Wow.
that's going to do it. Delethor has just enough damage for lethal. A couple points over. Wow, Forsen was so close to taking control of this game, but this is just how powerful this matchup is for Druid. You always have to be worried about this combo coming through, and that's going to be game 1 over to Delethor now. And this guy, I mean, he's putting up a good argument for being one of these Titan Slayers at this point.
Oh, I just feel really sad for Forsen. He went through so much. He had to do 2 rag snipes, and then the last one didn't work out, so he lost. That's just pretty sad.
Wow. I want to talk a little bit about the difference between using execute on that turn and using Gromish on that turn, because this is actually that tempo play actually ended up making a big difference in this matchup. Had he had access to execute, he could have used this Armorsmith to execute something, and he could have continued to use Gromish for value at that point and relied on the Ragnaros to pick up basically all the damage he's investing into minions, into putting that damage into face, and then eventually used Alexstrasza to put himself way out of range once he had a bunch of armor left. Because that's the other thing Gromish would have been doing, is it would have been getting armor value from attack as well, because that Armorsmith's there. So I don't know how much difference it would have actually made, but I would have liked to see him take a more aggressive stance there and just try to use
That's true. And with your play, you actually make your health go up to dodge the combo with the coin as well, right? You go up to like 17 life. So yeah, I think I prefer your play as well. But for now, Forsen will actually lose his warrior. And once again, guys, this is a best of 5 because it's the crew system. So Delethor just needs to win 2 more games, and Forsen needs to win 3. So what do you pick to face against this Druid right now?
I think a lot of it's going to come down to how his mage or his paladin deck is built. You know, there's always an argument for queuing up Druid versus Druid. I think it's something that he's comfortable with. Again, the high risk, high reward. But if his paladin deck has been built to aim at Druids, it can do a very good job dismantling that deck. So it really is a matter of builds. I can see all 3 of these builds being potentially good versus Druid, and I think that's something he's going to keep in mind when he was building his lineup in general. He's already got 1 weak spot to Druid, so he doesn't want to open up multiple weak spots to Druid, because I would expect it to be such a popular tournament deck at this point. It pretty much has been since the beginning of competitive Hearthstone.
Yep. With Innervate and Wild Growth, it's always going to be competitive. And I think Forsen is also a he really likes Freeze Mage as well, so I wouldn't be surprised if his mage is actually Freeze Mage. And Freeze Mage does not really do too well against Druids. So it's gonna be the Druid Mirror.
Yeah, something we didn't see from Delethor last game is actually Black Knight. That's not to say he doesn't have it in his deck, but we went through a good portion of it and we didn't see it there. So if Forsen's running sort of like a ramp variant, which is kind of indicated to me by this engine Shieldmaster, we're going to see him be potentially playing cards like Sunwalker and maybe even Ancient War, and those cards in the Druid Mirror get a ton of value unless Black Knight is there. So that's something that I think is going to be very much kept in mind with his game plan.
And KT also picked up here, so I believe that this is the Ramp Druid. I mean, if you run combo and KT, it's kind of weird, right? It's definitely too many win conditions in the deck, and you might screw up your early game. Delethor on this hand, he has an Innervate shape play.
Yeah, I mean, I can certainly think that Innervate Shade is one of the stronger plays that you can make in Druid. Um, but he's definitely going to be concerned a little bit about his curve. He's got Ancient Lore and Force Nature as his other cards. So unless he picks up some mid-sized minions, he's really not going to have much to do outside the first couple of turns of the game. So he's going to choose to hold Innervate.
Ooh, a zombie chow for turn 1 play. That is pretty sweet.
Keep some armor in check. Wrath picked up straight away though.
Well, I mean, if you're not going to innovate shade last turn, you're not going to innovate shade this turn, so that's perfect here.
Turn 2 Innervate Shade is the best play.
Oh, man.
Floating 1 mana.
Well, I mean, if innovate just gave you 1 extra mana, would you play that card? I mean, I would consider it a little bit too.
I still think it'd be pretty decent. I mean,
Yeah.
Coin's a good card.
Yeah, coin is pretty sweet.
Well, picked up. This is actually like, this game is going to develop really, really strangely over the next couple turns because Forsen can curve through his taunts. Forsen's actually got Black Knight in his deck too, so should they get into one of those Druid of the Claw battles where you're trying to fight for board value, Black Knight ends up being the tiebreaker there. So if Forsen can scale really well into, say, Druid of the Claw on a taunt next turn, he can actually just innervate out KT on turn 6 and really start to push for his opponent. But now this Sludge Belcher, this could really change everything too, because the Sludge Belcher is going to provide you an extra taunt availability on the board.
Well,
so
let's see what pops up first. Ooh, it's a Pint-Sized Summoner. Does that doesn't really change much. The Ancient of Lore is still not going to come down. So yeah, either the Druid of the Claw taunt mode or Belcher taunt mode seems really good.
Yeah, I still think I like Druid of the Claw. I think there's some merit. There is some merit to charging Druid of the Claw here, but he's actually going to charge it.
Wow, there you go.
Wow,
there is some merit.
Oh my gosh, Swipe gets picked up.
Well, that's a card.
Yeah, I think. Gosh, this is such an ugly turn for him too, because both of his opponent's minions are so low that he doesn't want to swipe, but he wants to Hero Power of the Ascension, but he also wants to innervate out this Ancient Lore, this is what he held the innervate for.
Right, but I mean the swipe pickup is just pretty amazing here. I think removing Druid minions are just really, really strong. You're not going to be able to wait for Wrath in this kind of matchup. Another innervate, Jesus Christ.
Wow, Forsen's hand is getting so strong right now. Just the fact that he can play potentially 13 mana next turn.
One turn.
Sylvanas is a really good draw right now,
man.
though.
This is just going back and forth with their card draws.
My gosh.
Drawing everything they need.
Still definitely some consideration to innervate out Ancient Lore here, though.
Okay. You just don't want the Sylvanas to trade, badly, I guess.
Gosh, I don't really know which one of those I like better. I mean, I like both of these plays, honestly.
Yeah, I guess, because Delethor doesn't really know what we know, right? I mean, the draft pickup would have, punished the Sylvanas a little bit, I believe.
Yeah, he would have gotten a 1/2 taunt off of it instead. So KT's going to come out here, and he's actually going to take out this Ancient Lore with an Innervate Wrath and get a second copy of Sludge Belcher back now.
This is too.
Wow, this is a massive turnaround for Forsen at this point.
Oh, man.
And so Sylvanas is going to need to pull some pretty heavy weight here for this to be a big comeback potential.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, KT is one of those legendaries, just like Sneeds, that are immune to BGH, which is something that deck builders have been thinking of right now. Like, whether you build a deck with Dr. Broom plus Rag or like stuff like that and Alexstrasza, so that if they use a BGH on one creature, they can't use it on next. Or if you go the other way, where you go with KT and Sneeds instead, then their BGH is rendered useless. So
that's where I personally like to use War Golem to bait out the first BGH.
Oh,
so that I can get through all the rest of the minions.
Wait, actually, Salty Dog is Oh,
that's another really good one too. that baits out Swipe as well.
Yeah,
and trading 5 mana for 4 mana is always a beneficial play.
I mean, it is a spell on the minion, so yeah. All right, so Delethor here. So you just slam Sylvanas and pray.
Yeah, I mean, Keeper of the Grove is certainly in his mind right now. I mean, that's like the last thing he wanted to see. But this is like. The last turn was one of the reasons. This kind of turn was one of the reasons you would want to have played Sylvanas last turn, was so that he can try to get something going here. But like, there's no benefit to attacking his opponent's minions right now.
Nothing. If you want to give your opponent another minion, give it another opponent another minion for mind control tech. So there is a little bit, right?
You found the way. But I think this is going to be the spot where Forsen's going to choose to just basically be as aggressive as he possibly can.
Well, Ramp Druid, how aggressive can you get? You're only pushing 10 damage right now.
I actually
got the Black Knight because you did see the micro tech last game.
Well, there's also some merit to running your Sludge Belcher into the Sylvanas here,
Mm-hmm.
and then trying to clear what's going on here. Like he could actually run his KT into the Sylvanas as well.
Right.
So that way, if Sylvanas manages to steal Kel'Thuzad, he can actually just answer it straight away.
Yeah, that's actually quite true. But the thing is, like, you always imagine that your opponent has the combo, right? And if they have the combo, then they can just do some shenanigans on the board and force the Sylvanas to take the KT.
Yeah.
It's just a very tricky board right now with no silence. And I love these situations where I'm looking at the player and they go like, okay, what do I do? Because everything
Yeah.
is messed up now, you know?
There's also a lot of merit to playing Black Knight here first to reduce the chance that Kel'Thuzad gets stolen from this kind of stuff.
Right. All right.
Exactly
Are
what
we
he's
gonna
gonna
see
do.
Forsen initiate the attack?
He's just gonna go for face. Oh my gosh, so much damage. He's gonna sit behind Kel'Thuzad and hope that his opponent doesn't have a reasonable answer to it. So Sylvanas actually, there's no way for Deathlord to kill his Sylvanas right now.
Not quite, unless he uses the Sylvanas to hit the KT. But
Yeah, but he just can't do that right now. He has actually no way to deal damage to a Sylvanas, and he has to get through the taunts first.
wait, no, he has Force of Nature. He can use Force of Nature to clear.
Okay, so if he uses Force of Nature,
Mm-hmm.
he can attack the Sludge Belcher with the 7/7.
Right, and then
then he'll-
kill two
Oh.
treants. And then, actually, you know what? He can even remove the KT from the field right now with along with his hero power too, right? So just Force of Nature and hero power. That's exactly the amount of damage. You can kill the KT and the Belcher, and you get to steal the Black Knight. Okay, that's pretty sick.
Wow, this is a really disgusting turn.
Oh no, I think Forsen's gonna not be too happy to see this. That's
Yeah.
what happens when you leave a Sylvanas untouched, by the way. Like, shenanigans like this just happens every single time. Oh, it's definitely gonna go greedy? Is he gonna go greedy?
No, he can't go greedy, right?
You're gonna go greedy.
No, I'd go greedy. Go greedy. Make
Okay.
it happen.
Alright, it's just gonna do that. Oh man. That's just so painful.
No, I actually think I would be greedy here because if he takes the Kel'Thuzad, he doesn't have to hero power it, and then his Sylvanas just gets resummoned.
Right? But then if you don't take the KT. Oh, actually, you know what? You're right.
Yeah, if he does the KT, he can just kill afterwards.
Oh yeah. We can just kill the KT afterwards if it doesn't. Oh yeah, that might be a bit better play, huh? Oh, we'll see. But now, Forsen
yeah,
looks terrible here. Look at that.
Yeah, I mean he expended everything to get to a board position where Kel'Thuzad was going to get him a ton of value, and Sylvanas had just completely disrupted that entire line of play. So he's going to need to draw something pretty big off of this. And Ancient Allure is going to give him a couple extra cards, but when you're staring at a board like this, is Ancient Allure really what you want to be playing? And he says no, but wow, so much gas for Deathlord at this point, and Forsen left with no board, yields a huge initiative to his opponent. And unless he can manage to put together 12 points of damage, this game is going to quickly get out of control. You know, let me ask you this: is Deathlord thinking about combo from his opponent? Is there any merit to him healing himself here?
I mean, you are pretty much a lot ahead, and if you do heal yourself, you do get to establish the shade. So I wouldn't be too sad about that play. But then how often do you see a Druid run Belchers and KT and a combo? You know?
That's true, but you know when you have this far of a lead, what you have to think about is what can I lose to at this point? Like, does he need 2 cards? Does he need to overdevelop his board?
That's true. So let's see what Deathlord chooses here. He actually chooses for cards. Yeah, he thinks it's safe enough.
Yeah, so this is, I mean, his read is that his opponent just does not have combo in his deck. That's why he's choosing to do this. Actually picks up Innervate and Piloted Shredder from this too. So a massive board lead now.
Oh man.
See, this is where I want to see Forsen pick up Force Nature right here and then draw Savage.
Oh, that is some amount of hope. But if Deathlord is in tune to ramp druids nowadays, they do run mind control tech for sure.
Wow.
Forsen is forced to innervate out the Keeper of the Grove just for some semblance of a board. Oh man, that's just pretty.
If Keeper would have been there, the turn Sylvanas hit.
Oh yeah, that would have been
easy.
easy. Yeah, that would have been easy. Another Wild Growth, but I guess Deathlord doesn't really need too many cards right now. It just needs to like be careful of the MC Tech turnaround. Although all his minions have around the same power level, so not like losing one of his creatures is too big, but still something to keep in mind of and play around.
Yeah, the way that this game is developing, I don't really see a position for him to not
lose
to play around mind control tech. No. Just
to play mind control tech. Okay.
He definitely could still lose the game here. Like if Forsen say he picks up another big like a 6-drop or a 7-drop to go with the mind control tech, and Delethor ends up having 4 minions on the board, you could see a really big turnaround because Forsen still got 27 points of health. So if he chooses to cycle these wild growths, this is really like one of the ways that he.
Ooh,
Oh my gosh! And Black Knight does get picked up.
Well, that's 2 Black Knights on the same side of the board.
Usually you see that with duplicate.
Yeah.
When I first started playing, I tried to faceless manipulator a Black Knight so I could copy the battle cry effect.
Yeah, yep.
It's like I was like, yes, I get to blow up a second time, and then I just made a 4/5, and I was like, oh man.
I think everybody has tried that sometime. Oh wow!
Wow, look at this.
Like this.
Dude, this is such a great job of playing around mind control tech too. Delethor is so on point in this match so far.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I guess Sonaris has to come up down here.
Yeah, just really no other play.
Run through the emotions. that's just like.
Do you just Black Knight? Do you just Black Knight a 2/2 here?
Well,
Because now, in the same vein, last turn you played around mind control tech, so you still want to play around mind control tech.
Okay.
Are you Black Knighting a guy and then killing the Cenarius with your 5/3 and your
3/3?
shade?
Yeah. I guess you could. Like,
if he continues to play this way, though, mind control tech's always going to be in the range as long as he has a card in his hand, basically.
Yeah, and Forsen
So
has a card in his hand, right? What card is unplayable at 10 mana? You know, it's either BGH or mind control tech.
Or Deathwing.
Or yeah,
just rips Deathwing.
It's one of those. I'll be very surprised.
There's still a big game winner on the other hand.
I'm gonna go on limb and say nobody's gonna play Deathwing in this total tournament.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the opposite side of that. I think there's gonna be at least one person playing Deathwing.
Oh, okay. Unstable portals count or no? Okay, they count. They'll count. God damn it.
I think one person is playing a copy of Deathwing. That's what I think. I think we need to have a little friendly wager about that.
Okay. Right. I would treat Admirable to dinner if there is a Deathwing that comes up.
This is just a slam big game. See, now there's no counter to Deathwing.
No. That's pretty scary.
He just draws it right here. I'll be so happy.
Swipe hero power and oh god, swipe is not that useful here too if you use hero power. You can't establish the Belcher as well.
So this is just gonna be. I think it's just gonna be mind control tech.
Right. At least it threatens the Spectral Knight, so at least it's doing something.
So Forsen, he would look like he was in really bad shape, but again, just the amount of health he had is really the difference in him being able to stay in this game and not. The Black Knight's certainly gonna end up being a really key point to closing out this game, but not quite out of it by any means yet. Say you draw something like a Dr. Boom or something.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Actually, I thought that Forsen was just out, but it seems like because Delethor also traded his minions very inefficiently to play around mind control tech, that Forsen had this, kind of like an advantage because he is playing that card as well. Cycles
instead. This was mind control tech though, which is not going to be. I've imagined that it's not going to be active.
Right.
At any point in this game. So
yeah, I mean, yes, you're right. If Forsen draws like Sylvanas or like Dr. Boom here, that'd be pretty big.
Yeah. Ancient of War.
Uh-oh.
Gosh, that's...
Oh, no.
Oh, gosh.
It's going to be so good.
Oh, gosh.
Okay.
I mean, it didn't really matter what happened because there was, Sludge Belcher getting blind. It's just brutal right here.
So gross.
Oh, gosh. Oh, it hurts. Oh, my greetings. Oh, gosh.
Greetings. Oh, no.
Oh, gosh. Black Knight says none shall pass, but I think that Spectral Knight and Keeper of the Grove are going to pass this turn.
Oh.
That's what I think. Oh, my gosh.
Oh.
That's so brutal.
You can see Forsen's soul, like, a piece of it fading away,
No, you gotta come to grips with it. It's just that's Hearthstone. Sometimes you just.
Oh!
Wait a minute. Hang on.
You can't play around the second one. Okay. Is that a little bit of hope? A little glimmer of hope?
Well, Delethor's hand is, his range again is just still so strong.
Oh.
Savage Roar gets picked up. Is that enough?
Swipe and Savage Roar. That is just 1,000,000 damage. If I'm Delethor, I'm just gonna use both cards and just figure out after that.
It's tough to get more than 10 damage out of Savage Roar.
Right. That's a Pyroblast for 3 mana.
Yeah.
It's a Pyroblast. That's insane.
I mean, granted, he had to get 4 minions on the board.
That's true.
It's still a Pyroblast for 3 mana.
Compared to that Bloodlust, if you use Bloodlust here, it's 5 mana for 12 damage. I think Savage Roar is just like so cheap.
Are you listening to this, Blizzard?
Oh.
Pyroblast for 3 mana. You remember what you did to Pyroblast when it was 8 mana?
Nerf, because 8 mana was not good. Oh man. So yeah, Delethor is just double checking here, and yep, Forsen's just gonna quit immediately.
Wow, Forsen getting down 2 games to 0 now. He's going to need a 3-0 to come back from this. Do you think that do you think that Deathlore is like, I mean, what's his percentage to win the match at this point? Because he's still got his coup available.
That's true. He can actually choose to play against Forsen's mage or against Forsen's paladin. And he doesn't even need to choose now, right? He's just go like, oh, Druid has a good matchup against both paladin and mage. Who cares? I'm just gonna play against whatever, and then
Right.
force some other matchups to be more favorable for him.
Yeah, I think he just tries to pick up another game with his Druid here,
Mm-hmm.
and then uses coup to, again, to funnel his opponent into whatever matchup he wants to play after that.
You know, to be honest, I actually thought of something. Wouldn't you say that the first person who used the coup is at a disadvantage because they kind of picked the wrong class to start?
I would usually think so, but sometimes you have like one game plan with your coup,
Mm-hmm.
and that's really what you're going to do with it here. So Forsen unfortunately got kind of pushed into this position
Right.
where Druid and Mage were decks that he both wanted to coup. So cooing one or the other could kind of hedge his bets against certain things, but it wouldn't really give him an advantage. But in some lineups, like you're just only going to want to coup one deck,
That's true.
and so it just depends on how the lineups and the decks are going to be built here.
Right. Well, I mean, the funny thing is, like, if your strategy is to coup a warlock in any case, and your first match is warlock against warlock, you go like, I guess I'm not gonna coup. I'm just gonna play out, right? Even if it's zoo against Handlock, it's kind of weird that way, right? I'm not gonna coup a zoo because I'm a zoo as well. That's just weird, right? So,
I would coup a Zoo deck. I don't want to play against Zoo.
oh, okay. Zoo
That,
against
that
zoo
deck's,
though.
that deck's strong as heck.
Okay.
I mean, what's the thing that beats Zoo? Zoo.
Actually, every.
Fight fire with fire. If you can't beat him, join him.
Oh man, but apparently, people don't think it's a strong deck right now. Otherwise, we see more Zoo in the ladder.
Yeah. I think a lot of it is that people are so fed up with Zoo at this point that everyone's just targeting it, and
Oh, okay,
it's just kind of suicide to play it when everyone is trying to beat that strategy.
that's true. All right, so Delethor is facing a paladin right now. He
Yeah.
is going to nope. He's just gonna say no to paladin.
Yeah, he's gonna coup right away, and I don't blame him for that one. This is one of the matchups I think that he wanted to avoid.
Right.
And I think that actually might have been something that Forsen was trying to do earlier when he queued up Druid
Mhm.
against this. Was he was trying to get the coup out of the way? Like maybe Deathlord just didn't want to play a Druid mirror, and kind of the player who wild growths in the Druid matchup usually has a pretty distinct advantage.
Mhm.
Um, so I think it might be something he was trying to bait out. But Deathlord just again so on point this match. He's been playing absolutely. His reads have just been so good so far.
Oh yeah, it's been pretty sick, I have to say.
Yeah.
And he knows the limits of his plays. He knows what his opponent is playing, and now he just needs to beat this last mage, which we think it's a freeze mage because it is Forsen after all. And
Yeah.
Druid against freeze mage, that's a pretty good matchup for the Druid. You have all the tools necessary, to deal with the minions and threats.
Yeah, Fatigue Mage is something that I actually struggled a little bit against
Mhm.
with Druid because they could just kind of dismantle everything you had and continue to keep up on cards and pressure you through it. And against something like Freeze Mage, typically what you can do is if you pick up Savage Roar early, you can just pop their Ice Block on a really critical turn, or
Right.
have Lotheb for another crucial turn. Lotheb has kind of fallen out of favor in a lot of Druid decks, but traditionally it feels like a very good matchup as long as you have Savage Roar in your deck. Ramp doesn't do so good against it, but the Savage Roar versions do.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
if this is Freeze Mage, I think I got to go with Deathlore on this one. But Fatigue Mage is certainly not an impossibility.
Oh, but look at that. There is an anti-heal bot in Forsen's freeze mage.
Yeah, Ice Lance really. I mean, that is a pretty telltale sign of something like Freeze Mage.
Right?
But I mean, there is a possibility. And then when you see Mad Scientist, of course, I mean that pretty much takes up the
So
possibility for Fatigue
Mad
Mage.
Scientist is basically saying that, oh yes, I'm playing a mage deck.
Yeah.
That's what it says
The
basically.
Freeze Mage, yeah. Because if you're playing Fatigue Mage, you don't want to pull cards out of your own deck. You actually use Deathlord to pull cards out of your opponent's deck,
Right.
despite the significant drawback that your opponent actually just gets a minion on the board. So with Mad
that's true.
Scientist and Fatigue Mage, you're actually thinning out your deck along with your opponents, and that's not a goal that you have in mind. So this is certainly Freeze Mage.
Okay. But yeah, anti-heal bot in freeze mage seems to be pretty interesting too, right? Your opponent seems like they can pop your ice block on that turn, and they just spend all their resources and just let you kill all their stuff. But then you play anti-heal bot, and you can maybe buy a turn because you ice block another turn, right?
In the same
spend
vein,
everything
too.
Turn.
In the same vein too, your opponent's setting up to pop an ice block. You can use anti-heal block, maybe throw that math off, buy you an extra turn.
Yeah. We'll see if that works out for Forsen here. Deathlore is a pretty good start here, of course. The Wild Growth into Shade, into a 5-drop, And he is playing Lotheb, so this is looking pretty bad for Forsen. He doesn't know it yet because Lotheb wasn't played in any of those matches, right?
Yeah. We didn't see Lotheb. No, we did see Lotheb
We did see
drawn.
Lotheb drawn.
Yeah, it was playing the Warrior matchup. What are we talking about?
Oh, was it? Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh,
the
yeah,
turn
with
he
the
played Druid
with
Quality.
execute. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is definitely pretty hard for Freeze Mage if they just lose the entire turn doing nothing, you know?
Yeah, so double loot hoarder here. Certainly agree with that. Swipe is really, I imagine, about the only thing he doesn't want to see this turn. I'm curious what secret that is. If that's ice barrier, if that's ice block.
Oh, we see it's an ice barrier because we're in super advanced spectator mode. Thank you to the admin behind it.
Thanks, production.
Awesome. So loot hoarders are gonna get cleared, well, at least one of them,
Yeah, I imagine this edge drake's gonna go for face.
right? But then does the shade kill the loot hoarder here?
I think there's a really good argument for that. You know, seeing burn spells being pulled out of your opponent's hand isn't the worst thing in the world when you're in this matchup, because if you can just reduce the amount of damage they can burst you with, that's one of the ways you can just win the game is you run them out of damage.
Mm-hmm. And you also want the Drake to survive.
Yeah. You open yourself to something like Blizzard, though.
That's true. That's true. The Shredder is definitely going to come down here. It's just a matter of whether you trade in with this loot hoarder.
Yeah. If he's going to attack with the Shade, I imagine there's no reason for him to play the other Shade, but when he plays the piloted Shredder here, I actually like attacking with the Shade to protect his Drake.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Doomsayer is pretty key on turn 5. You can do
this is
signature Frost Nova Doomsayer turn.
Looks like a pretty good one. I don't see much else happening. This also gives him a really clean turn 6. Like he actually could just power out Archmage if he wanted to. I don't think he's going to do that, but
right.
But if he wanted to.
The coin is safe for Archmage, so that's a really, really big thing.
Yeah,
so if there's some residual damage that goes onto Deathlord's face, he doesn't. The Forsen doesn't even need to get Alexstrasza.
Wow, look at Deathlord just has no response to this Doomsayer. His entire turn 7 is going to be a hero power,
hero power,
and like maybe a swipe, and like maybe a Lotheb just to make his opponent's spells cost more. None of those seem like very good decisions to me right now, though.
They seem pretty bad.
And what if then he gets a Doomsayer off his pilot shredder, and then Forsen can't play anything.
Oh. Okay, that's a little bit too meta gaming. That's a bit too much. But I mean, yeah, is it pushing 4 damage really that bad right now?
It's tough to say. You know, you definitely want to. You're gonna have to look how much mana he has in his hand. So he's got 17. So he's got 20. He's got 27 points worth of mana. He's going to keep drawing a card every single turn.
Exactly.
So he does have to think about how he allocates all his resources over the course of this game, because it's not going to last forever. The game has to end at some point. So, you know, what else do you want to swipe in this matchup? Is something else he's going to think about. And then, of course, also the benefit of just swiping his opponent. You know, he does have to worry about Archmage at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So having access to deal with it, yeah. I mean, I'd like using the swipe here again, just because he has so much mana in his hand. He's got to just get rid of it somehow.
Might as well push for some damage if it's going to go into face anyways. Little 2/2 comes out, so that doesn't really do anything.
Yeah, Forsen picks up his 10 mana version of Pyroblast, not the 3 mana one that Druids have.
I think I prefer the 3 mana one a little bit.
This is a pretty solid recovery here, though. He's got a lot of answers to pretty much everything his opponent can throw at him. Sans the Lotheb. Explosive Sheep's giving him a little bit extra. He's got another copy of Frost Nova. This feels like a pretty good shape. When you get to this stage of the game and you're still at 29, I think you're feeling pretty good.
Oh yeah, 29 at like turn 6. That you accomplished what Freeze Mage intends to do, right? Just freeze your opponent's plays. Deathlord here, he could just turn 8 Dr. Boom. Not as good as turn 7 Dr. Boom, mind you, but that's one of the power plays, I guess. It's actually not that bad.
Yeah, I think I like that one most. Just simply because it just adds so much pressure to the board.
Well, what's the other choice? The other choice would be like a 5 mana and 3 mana creature.
Yeah, I mean, Lotheb Shade's not too bad. Lotheb Mind Control Tech's not too bad either. But saving Lotheb for a critical turn is really what he's looking forward to here.
Oh man, this is so much damage from Forsen, but he still needs to be mindful of the Savage Roar. He can just get Pyroblasted from nowhere. So he does need to somewhat clear the board, I would say. So what is the best way to deal with this board?
Well, he does have a couple other options too. Like if he wants to develop the Archmage and then just get a couple fireballs out of it, like he can just Ice Lance the Dr. Boom and just start picking up fireballs and use fireballs to try to just choke his opponent's cards out.
Oh, you could do that, but your opponent is owning 5 threats, and it feels like that every Druid card does need to be fireballed once. You can't like
Yeah.
cheat the system or whatnot. Another thing is like Delethor is playing Spectral Knights, so you can't really fireball those creatures.
Yep.
So I would imagine maybe a sheep plus a frostbolt here. That clears the board pretty well, I think. Pretty hard to use sheep effectively in this matchup, anyways.
This is another like really crucial secret tier too. Like I think at this point he's fine with. I actually think Ice Berry is a little bit better than Ice Block is here.
Right. But he does have another math scientist that. Oh wait, actually, did he have another math scientist, or was the? Oh no, he lost both of his math scientists already.
Yep.
So that's okay.
Yeah, Sheep's definitely gonna come down here.
Sheep and ping. Oh, ping.
Yeah, it's already frozen. So setting it up to die to Flame Strike or potentially like a Blizzard if he draws it, or just even like a Frostbolt.
And even if the sheep gets silenced, he has a Flame Strike.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Is like this sheep sometimes will get silenced here, and even when it just gets hero powered, you have pulled 2 of your opponent's mana for this turn.
That's pretty sick. Delethor, thinking about some plays that are possible. Maybe a Lotheb is time. Maybe it's time for a Lotheb to come down here, but the sheep is just gonna nuke your board along with the Lotheb.
Yeah, that's really what he's worried about here is how he goes forward from here. Forsen's making a lot of plays that are creating these strange kinds of board tensions where you don't feel comfortable developing your board once it's gotten frozen like this, but at the same time you don't feel comfortable not developing your board and not doing anything. So Lotheb seems really reasonable if you want to try to start diffusing those effects and get something rolling, because he doesn't have Force of Nature or Savage Roar at this point, so he's still got a lot of cards that he has to go through before he sees a reasonable expectation of those.
So the silence does come down on the sheep. It does, a lot of damage, and the Lotheb comes down.
Yeah, if you're gonna silence, you definitely have to Lotheb here. So
Flame Strike's
this is a
here.
ton of pressure.
Oh man.
Gosh, and Forsen's he's so worried about Saboteur at this point. He doesn't really have an option other than the Ice Block and just kind of hope for the best.
All right. Well, the sheep is gonna go on the Lotheb to set up for the Flame Strike turn. But wow, if the Savage Roar is drawn here, that's a super power plus. Oh, that's the wrong one.
Wow, that could have been a disgusting turn. I mean, that would have been Druid of the Claw charge and then Savage Roar for the full amount.
Well, is there enough damage here to pop the block? There is an Ice Barrier, so that's a lot of damage to go through.
35. He's not anywhere close to 35.
No, I mean you can just kind of like look over the numbers casually and go like, no, that's not 20. That's not.
Yeah. With Savage Roar, it would have been 35.
Oh yeah. You add a million damage.
Just an extra 16 damage for 3 mana. That seems fair.
It's like eating a chocolate cake, right? You just see chocolate sauce right now, but then if you draw the cake, it's like, okay, yeah, I can be full.
Force of Nature is sauce, and Savage Roar is cake.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And Druid the Claw is like a cherry. No, cherry's not gonna be full. Oh, on taunt form instead. Okay, so he does play around the Flame Strike that might be coming, and gets to reduce Forsen down to 16 health.
You gotta believe that Flame Strike is what's happening here. There's just like nothing else it could be.
Yeah. You know, it's also funny because if Delethor actually had the Savage Roar, he could. Forsen cannot Flame Strike because the Boombots would actually have killed him.
Yeah, so he's gonna use the Doomsayer here to just try to absorb damage from the Boombots too.
No, 2 and absorb 1 of the Boombots, which is
So not a lot of damage being put through there. But you still got to kill this Doomsayer. So the Wrath is a nice pickup for that.
Yeah, right now Forsen is in such a comfortable spot because if Delethor does decide to rush him down or something and pop the block, he might be even scared of like Alexstrasza, right? If he Alexstrasza himself, then you're out of range and you lost the combo already.
Yeah.
So not a very comfortable position for Delethor to be in.
This has been a really good use of cards for Forsen here too. I have to say he's been doing so much to mitigate damage through such a tough board position.
And a tough matchup too.
I gotta believe this is an Archmage turn.
Okay, and this Druid is gonna have to charge. Yep.
All right, so Forsen down to 10, but he's sitting behind an Ice Block. He's got Archmage, Coin, Frostbolt, or Frostbolt Ice Lance.
Yeah, I would imagine the Ice Lance is coming down because you only have 2 Frostbolts. Oh, innovative.
He's gonna get 3 fireballs though. I mean, is he worried about having the Ice Lance stranded?
Well, maybe you kind of want the. Oh wow. Okay, that's a lot of damage, but you kind of want to draw the ice block next turn too, right? Because your block is gonna get proc next turn. And does it seem like you can kill your opponent in 2 turns with 30 health? I don't think so.
No, I don't think you can. But again, sitting behind the antique heal bot, something he definitely wants to draw at this point. And look at how many fireballs he's got in his hand right now.
He's actually gonna freeze the minions here instead.
Yeah, I like freezing the minions here.
Wait.
If you shut off, if your ice block doesn't get popped this turn, you're golden.
But it is. Uh-oh. Okay. This is a pretty big pressure moment. Delethor can proc the block right now. And if Forsen doesn't draw into another thing that kind of maybe even anti-Killbot kind of can do the trick, but he needs to draw. But is Delethor thinking of killing this Archmage instead?
Well, that's certainly something that's on his mind, because if you look at how confidently this turn was played by Forsen,
right?
This turn sends a big message where you're like, you know what, I just have a really strong hand. So it looks to me like Delethor is going to end up going for face here. And
I see.
When you get in a position like this, I tend to favor. Oh my gosh!
Intimidation tactics.
Wow. See, this is it. Did you see Forsen hover over a card too? He knows that Delethor is picking up on all these little things and taking them into account. And this might be sending him a message that like, hey, I've got another ice block. Go ahead, attack me. Forsen really wants to get this Archmage attacked right now.
Mind games, Forsen.
Wow.
It's the mind games, Forsen.
It's the mind game.
Games. Oh my god. Wow.
That is unbelievable. His ice block is still in place, and he's got 4 fireballs and a blood mage in his hand.
Oh.
And he picks up antique heal bot, and that's gonna keep his ice block secured for another turn.
Oh my, what a turnaround.
Forsen might have just taken complete control of this game with his mind games here.
Oh,
wow,
so
what an unbelievable turn from Forsen.
Those mind games, man. I guess Forsen is playing a priest after all. Oh man. Oh, it looks so bad for Delethor right now.
Oh, it looks really bad.
Really, really bad. That's the hero part, the Thanos. I mean, even though Delethor is sitting at like what 31 health right now. Oh,
and he picks up Alex Strauss and
another spice block as well. Oh yeah, this game should be.
I think this is just Forsen has sealed the deal here, and wow, it's not often you get to see mind games play a significant role in how the turns go, but this is such a prime game to illustrate the importance of having this in your arsenal. I mean, this is one of the things that I would say he's best at is navigating through these kinds of scenarios.
Very interesting. I guess yeah, use everything you have that you can play, and emotes are a part of those, I guess, part of your weaponry.
Squelch your opponent at the beginning of the game.
Oh man. How about tournament mode where you cannot squelch your opponent?
And
I mean,
and Anartron keeps their volume at maximum.
Yeah. How about that, right? I mean, in poker, you can't just say, tell the person to leave and not look at them, You can't just blind your eyes either.
Big Game Hunter gets picked up, but this is just not going to be enough. There's just too much damage in Forsen's hand.
Well, Forsen doesn't really have lethal this turn, but...
He doesn't have it this turn, but he's behind the ice block, so he's got 24 points of damage. 27 points of damage coming in the next 2 turns.
Where's Delethor going?
I think he rage quit. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh, this free stage is so gross. I don't even want to. Oh, Forsen, you're helloing, but you're not helloing anybody right now.
Is anybody home? Yeah, Savagor is not going to do it.
Way too late.
Forsen has potentially started the turnaround here, getting his first win with Freeze Mage, and against what we considered to be an unfavorable matchup for him.
Well, there you go. I guess we can't really call Forsen Forsen here.
Wow. What a great game.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Forsen played really well this game.
Yeah.
Love it.
Oh!
That's an interesting card. We get to. It's a little teaser for later.
That's a nice glimpse into the future there.
Oh, the Fireball BM. Okay.
Well played.
Well played indeed, Forsen.
Pyroblast was more overkill there, by the way.
Yeah, Pyroblast was.
That's only like a 7.75 to 10 BM.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So the Pyroblast hover and then remove it and then play some fireballs. I think Pyroblast, alright, the Pyroblast is like you kind of go into freeze mage route, right? Where it's like the typical freeze of Alexstrasza, and then burn them and ice block again, and then and then play Pyroblast to the finish. But with Archmage, you actually have like a second way of achieving victory, which I do like in freeze mages now, because in the classic freeze mage there was only Alexstrasza and Pyroblast, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That game is just such a perfect example of how I just can't stress that enough. That was just so beautiful to watch.
That Archmage that got killed, right?
Yeah.
That was pretty good. And now Delethor is down to his two decks that he that can play both of them, a Hunter and a Warlock. Hunter against Mage could be pretty good, but then some people are telling me that especially like Sixel and even Firebat, like my teammates, they're telling me that Freeze Mage has an edge over Hunter.
Yeah, I mean, since Flare got increased to 2, you don't just see 2 copies of Flare in every single Hunter deck just because why not? And that was what was really killing Freeze Mage to begin with, was the fact that Hunter was not only arguably the best strategy, but that it also had just this perfect counter card to whatever you were doing. So when you increase that mana cost 100%, it's like the difference between Undertaker and Micro Machine. It's like Micro Machine is not the new Undertaker, and the new Flare is not the old Flare. There's a heavy cost associated with it because you can't just burn it on turn 1. But this Hunter might be a different story. We see Arcane Golem in the opening hand, and that's indicative of cards potentially like Wolf Rider. He is going to be looking to just burn his opponent out of the game as quickly as possible. Wow, and he even sees Wolf Rider picked up straight away. So Antique Healbot, very good, I think, in this matchup.
Forsen keeps this whole hand. It's like perfect. Wow. I like this hand. Keeps the Arcane Intellect.
So strong.
Oh, man.
If Delethor picks up a 1-drop here, I think he's in good shape. So
quite.
And we're going to have to see how this game develops now. But
you know what?
Wow.
As a person playing against the Hunter, and I see them pass their turn, I go like,
oh, yeah, that's a big sigh of relief.
Oh, man.
And then I think a not-so-big sigh of relief is going to be when he sees Wolf Rider.
Oh, the 1-drop was a little bit too late.
Yeah.
Mad Scientist should come down here.
Yeah. That Web Spinner, like, if that would have been played turn 1, that could potentially picked up like 3 points of damage this game.
Yeah. And actually, because, I mean, if Forsen pings it, then, he spends 2 mana really much doing nothing.
Yeah. I'd be very surprised if Wolf Rider did not get jammed into the face this turn.
Jam it.
He may not want to give that away, though.
Yeah, that's true. Is it better to conceal the information?
It might be. I think it actually might just be straight up better to play Web Spinner and then Hero Power. Yeah, just start getting your value now, because your hand doesn't have a lot of repetitive damage in it at the moment.
That's true.
So it makes a ton of sense to start weaving in your Hero Powers now when you can, and hope that gets the job done. But again, this is really an example of just the difference that not having Flare will make in this matchup. I think Forsen feels very comfortable with his position right now. And I believe that's an ice barrier I believe that's an ice block because ice block was not available to play last turn.
Right, that's true. And we do have the hover mechanic, which is perfect. Delethor's going to just try and use the hero power as much as possible here.
Yeah.
And I think ice barrier would have been a little bit better for Forsen, but hey, what can you do? A free secret? That's pretty good.
It's all right.
Getting a pretty good card.
Getting a free extra turn for 2 mana and a 2/2 minion, it's an okay deal.
Right.
What secret did Deathlord get though? Is he just running copies of Explosive Trap?
Oh yeah, that's interesting. Maybe we can hover over that if we have a chance.
I imagine if he's Space Hunter, he probably does just have 2 copies of Explosive Trap.
Yeah, it is an Explosive Trap here. Perfect.
But I'm curious if something like Misdirection can be rotated back into this deck now if you're choosing to go the face route again.
That's such a hard card to use correctly, though, don't you think? It requires such a insane amount of setup.
Well, I remember when Chalky when I was playing on Clarity. I mean, this is eons ago.
Oh yeah, ages ago.
What you just did is anytime they played a minion, you just played Misdirection, and it was like a gain 2 damage. It was like a gain 2 life, deal 2 damage spell, and that was enough to just buy you the little bit of extra time you needed to try to finish off your opponent.
Mm-hmm. Maybe in the next few months. Maybe the meta is not there yet.
I'd like to see it get rotated back in.
All right. This Mad Science is gonna whiff because we expected only Explosive Traps, and Forsen does know that the trap is not freezing or Snake Trap because he did trade with the Mad Sciences. Oh wait, actually no, he traded and then the secret popped there, right? So yeah, I guess Forsen doesn't really know. It's
Anti-Killbot straight away. This is such a good turn for him too. I mean, look at how much he's stabilized.
right.
And Unleash the Hounds is not very good against Freeze Mage, I can tell you that.
3 mana to deal 1 damage. Not really good. No, it can't be good.
And now it's 3 mana to deal 0 damage.
Oh jeez. This piece might help a little bit. Scavenging Hyena. Not too helpful, I think. Wolf Rider's gonna come down here.
This is where this is a really good example, by the way, of how well Deathlord has played this. You know, starting early on when he started weaving in the hero powers. Had he just chosen to use his Wolf Riders, he wouldn't really have any gas left at this point. But instead, he's gotten what has been 10 damage out of his hero power now.
Yeah. So I guess right now, if we analyze the situation, we back in turn 3, we are really not surprised that he didn't use the Wolf Rider.
Yeah, I initially I would have been surprised, but then I started evaluating the game state again.
Yeah.
I'm just so used to jamming down Wolf Rider on turn 3 when I have it.
Because why not? It's 3 damage right now. Oh man, this Ice Barrier is gonna heal Forsen for so much. It's amazing.
He's gonna get Iron Begal for the Doomsayer too.
That's true. But I mean, this is a pretty yummy Flame Strike turn.
It's tough to get a better one than this.
Yeah, very tough.
It's
Against
really tough.
Aggro Hunter as well.
Yeah, especially against Charge Hunter,
Yeah.
where your opponent's gonna be. Wow, Glaive Zuka.
That's pretty much a Fire War Axe at this point. Just push for 3 damage. Unleash cannot be used. Explosive Trap cannot be used. And I mean, are you really gonna play down a 2-1? So wow, Deathlord has a dead hand right now.
Yeah.
But still, it's some pressure, right? Forsen still needs to draw to his win conditions.
Yep.
So it's pretty much kind of a race for that to happen.
Yep. He's got another Ice Barrier left too, so a little bit of gas in terms of keeping his life sustained.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, there it is.
There it is.
Not bad.
I think that's actually pretty much the exact draw he wanted after on the second one anyway.
But yeah, this mage is still at the end of the day, Freeze Mage is not Fatigue Mage, so you do have to like kill your opponent at some time.
Yep.
Kill Command is also a 10 card.
For now it is. I mean, it's 5 extra damage. He's at this point he's trying to assemble just the critical mass.
Right, but then you kind of want to draw something that you can play right now and draw the Kill Command later, right? So.
Yep. Oh, Deathlord just throws at the well played, but and Alex Straza gets picked up, and that is a huge draw for Forsen right now.
Because you see it, Fireball, Frostbolt, and that is the magic 15.
Wow, he's even got Ice Lance. There's nothing Deathlord could do to get out of this one because Forsen's sitting behind an ice block right now. So even if he could manage to deal 19 points of damage, Forsen would still be alive.
Oh man.
This is really the difference that Flare and not Flare makes too, because Flare was able to cancel out things like ice barriers.
That's true.
So in a scenario like that, it was effectively dealing 8 damage versus this deck.
Wow, Flare, 1 mana, deal 8 damage and draw a card. That seems so unbalanced if you look back.
Yeah. And then when your opponent has Ice Block out, you also kill that.
Right. And when your opponent's not a secrets class, you can just draw a card.
Yeah.
Oh, the classical Forsen. Oh no. Oh.
That didn't work.
Okay. And yeah, Forsen miraculously takes back second game, and hey, they're going down to the ace match.
Yep, we got ourselves a series, boys. Yeah. We have now seen both coups used. We've seen Druid put Forsen down to his last deck. We've seen him use a mind game to get his opponent to kill his Archmage, which is what he wanted to happen. And now we're down to the last matchup, which is Warlock versus Mage. And I got to be honest with you, in my experience on both sides of this, Mage, I think, has a distinct advantage over what's going on in these matchups.
Yeah, I mean, with all versions of Warlock seem to be like not that good against Freeze Mage, for example. Maybe double Anti-Q, but double Farseer. Handlock would be okay, especially if you can push out those Giants and Twilight Drinks early on.
Yeah.
But man, Forsen has come a long way. And it would be a shame if it's like Ragnaros and it hits 2 times and the third one misses.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe it's all come down to this one game. We were like counting Forsen, like how difficult is it for him to win this series at this point? Deathlord still had all of his decks available. to him. San's the one that was cooed. He had his coup still available. He had what we felt were favorable matchups coming into this at some point, and now it's all down to this one game.
Oh man.
And I want to know what kind of Warlock he's playing. And since he's playing, I saw Arcane Golem and Wolf Rider in Hunter, and I'm happy with that. But it wouldn't surprise me to see like another Arcane Golem oriented style Warlock, because that's been building up a lot of steam. It's becoming a lot more popular lately too. It's just a Warlock deck that focuses on removal and then tries to kill you around the turn 10 mark with Arcane Golem, 2 power overwhelmings, and a Faceless Manipulator.
That's true, but would that deck be good against a Freeze Mage, for example? Like you still need to deal some residual damage. Oh my god!
There's the Arcane Golem.
Oh my god! Okay, so I guess we're about to find out, right? We don't need to speculate. This is one of the times that we're gonna see. Mind Control tech as well. So what do you keep in this deck? I'm pretty sure that Delethor is not gonna keep any of these cards.
I imagine they're all getting pitched. I mean, there might be some merit to keeping like Mind Control tech just to have a 3/3.
Nah, you want to.
Oh, he's got Twilight Drakes.
Double Drakes. Yo, this is gonna be so deadly. Double Drakes is just Freeze Mage's worst dream, or not dream, nightmare, I guess. At that point, it's not even a dream.
It's not a Ysera card. Well, it's one of the Ysera cards.
Oh. Yeah.
Yep.
That. All right. Yeah, and 2 Dark Bombs as well. So, you know, you're not in any situation where you go like, okay, I'm gonna deal a bunch of damage and my opponent is, you know, sitting at 1 health with no ice block and I can't kill him. No, you have Dark Bombs, so that's perfectly fine.
Yep.
Some board from Forsen though, which means that he can deal some, you know, residual damage. Which means that Archmage suddenly becomes like a viable outlet to win.
Yep. Isn't necessarily going to need Alex Straza to win this game. It's just got to be coin Twilight Drake, and you got 2 of them in your hand. You have a turn 5 play. You know, what cards are going to give you better options at this point? Just a 4/8 is such a menacing minion. And Harrison is not going to be good unless we see a Jiraxis played, which, if I'm familiar with this matchup, Jiraxis doesn't get played in this deck.
Yeah, I believe it's not a Jiraxis deck either.
Ooh, he picks up a Hellfire, though.
Okay, that's one way to deal with all these annoying minions.
Wow, this is a tough turn, actually.
Yeah, because if you let these minions survive, then you are that much more vulnerable to the Archmage play. Or maybe, you know, Forsen just draws into 2 Fireballs and then draws into a Pyroblast and goes like, yeah, I'm just going to kill you now.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have to consider how much damage these small minions add up to.
Yeah.
If you don't use Hellfire this turn, like say do you attack a minion here if you choose to play the other Twilight Drake?
I think you should. You really don't want to get to that point where, you know, you're worrying about your life, right? You just want to try and worry about how you pop the block and how you kill your opponent.
Yeah.
So it is a hard turn, I have to say. It's not a Belcher turn. I mean, Belcher would be so much better because you can just play Belcher and go for face, right?
There's just Belcher was 4 mana.
Yeah, if only. Damn it. Alright, I think it... Yeah, I wouldn't know what to do here. This is a hard.
Yeah, this looks like a Hellfire to me.
I think I like the attack first and then Hellfire. The Mad Scientist might have a possibility of whiffing.
Yep.
Safe.
Well, I think actually I don't know which one I like first.
So many cards drawn. Oh my god.
Yeah, Harrison's just gonna come down to help challenge this this Twilight Drake.
Right.
Now I'm curious now if he's gonna choose to go with Sludge Belcher or go with his other Twilight Drake here now.
Because then Harrison going to the face hurts a bit more than Luke Hoarder going to the face.
Yeah, there is definitely a consideration for just trading here also.
Yeah,
I like going for face though.
Yeah, you need to pop the block. You don't want to stall this game any longer for a Freeze Mage.
This is another one of those matchups where like I think if the game goes to like 30 turns, that Deathlord probably has an advantage. But like if the game goes to like, you know, like what he has to get past like the 13-14 mark, which is really that's where Freeze Mage becomes the scariest.
Forsen's just gonna ping the Drake, I believe. Set up for a Flame Strike or even a Flame Strike bluff.
Dr. Boom gets picked up.
Oh.
And that's something I haven't seen very often with this deck. As Implosion.
Implosion is pretty standard.
Yeah, I like going with with the Twilight Drake here though. He could have Implosion the Harrison, but I think just the 4/9 is going to be much better value.
That's true. I mean, you can't really guess how much the Implosion is going to hit, right?
Right.
So you don't even know how much damage you're going to deal. Ice Bear is going to come down here instead of Flame Strike, because Flame Strike really just deals 4 damage to a minion the other minion's just gonna stay there.
Yeah.
It's kind of awkward.
Do you think he's frost bolting this 4/9 Twilight Drake this turn?
Oh, really? I don't think that's really good, to be honest. Like right now, I think Forsen is holding to Pyroblast and Frostbolt. So if he draws into more damage spells, he can just go for it because he also has the other Ice Block, right? So he can just buy a turn.
Okay, so he feels comfortable with his life total right now.
Yeah.
He's going to work on chipping away at his opponent's life and then looking for a couple of big turns of burst.
Right. I mean, if you get Ice Lance, then you wish you had the Frostbolt ready for the face.
Right. I like that game plan.
But then over at Delethor, turn 7, Dr. Broom is looking at you and saying, "Hi, I'm available."
He's like whistling at you. He's like, "I'm available." You're like, "Dr. Boom, you single?" He's like, "Do you see any boom bots around me?" I'm like, "Yeah, there's 2."
I think another way of winning against the freeze mage is to use Dr. Boom on a crucial turn where they have to flame strike the board or something, and they're down to very low health, so they can't proc their own ice block, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, but still, I mean, your opponent is 23. There's an ice barrier up, and I just feel like Dr. Boom is really good here.
I think something else he's debating is the merit of actually attacking this explosive sheet with his 4/9.
That's true. He does do that.
It's going to save his boom bots, and it's going to force... If Forsen wants to clear out this Drake, it's going to force him to use 2 mana for it.
Oh, man.
Or have some sort of a sweep spell. You know, we haven't seen Blizzard from Forsen's deck, actually.
Oh, yeah, that is one of the key cards that we haven't seen. I mean, something has to get taken out with all the Harrison and anti-Keelbot includes.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Fireball, Frostbolt, and Pyroblast? How much does that equal, Admirable?
It's 19 damage.
And
so
how much
far.
hope does the Warlock have?
Yeah, this could be brutal. You know, he's got to be thinking about potential heals from his opponent, though.
That's true.
Deathlord he can siphon soul one of his own minions.
Anti-Keelbot is also definitely a possibility of this deck as well.
I think he's gonna go for it.
Just YOLO? Oh, no. No.
Okay, so say he pings this minion,
right,
and then he freezes this board,
right,
and then next turn he can use Fireball and Frostbolt, and then his opponent pops his Ice Block.
Right.
This is assuming he puts together 27 points of damage,
which is
just Pyroblast.
Reasonable. Yeah. Okay, I like that game plan. Oh, we both did that at the same time. Oh man.
Yeah, this deck's got a lot of tools to deal with this sort of stuff, and 9 cards in hand. I don't think he really wants to life tap anymore at this point, though.
No.
I think he's just got enough options. Like, I mean, I think it's even reasonable to just face this manipulator, your own Dr. Boom at this point, just to get added pressure on the board.
Yeah, you could do that actually. That's true. I mean, a 7/7 is not really going anywhere. Oh, it's
he's gonna life tap.
Oh man. Place Black Knight instead here, and Forsen even ever the closer of killing his opponent outright right now. Well, Archangelic is also insane here.
Yeah, this is a great draw. He's got a second Ice Block sitting in his hand. I mean, I gotta believe that Forsen's just gonna make the push for damage here. And I think he's in prime position to get it. I mean, he's got he's got at least 3 cards to pick up an Ice Lance.
If he does Ice Lance, then it's ditch the Fireball and just go Frostbolt Ice Lance because you can couple the Ice Block with the Fireball next turn. Oh, Archmage is not really what you need. And
yeah, he's gonna dig for the Ice Lance here.
And no,
get it.
But
this is the block's not even getting popped this turn. 7, 10,
8. So 12 plus 9 is 21. 21 plus the Arcane Golem and Faceless Manipulator. Well, you can just sacrifice on your bombs and you can do it. So yeah, the block is actually gonna get procced here. Oh no. Would you have liked to see Forsen do the Fireball Frostbolt thing instead?
Well, he's got this thing coming.
No.
Oh my gosh, an anti-heal bot gets picked up.
Oh no. This
might be I think this is just too much life now for Forsen to be able to come back through.
Oh yeah, this is pretty disastrous.
Yeah, Deathlord's counting this up right now, so it's 15, 17 plus 8 available.
That's not quite yet. No overwhelming, so.
Well, actually, it could be 17 plus 10 if he wants to use the 2 Dark Bombs.
Oh yeah, you have Dark Bombs. Wait.
So, yeah, so he could just use the Arcane Golem and then run everything in, and he can keep Forsen at 1 as well.
That's true. 17 plus 10 is equal to 27. Last I heard. And of course, bringing your opponent down to that kind of health with the boombots on board is just so scary. You know, your opponent just can't clear the board anymore. You can't even use Doomsayer. Like, Frost Nova Doomsayer is out of the question.
Some pretty unlucky draws from Force. He picked up 4 cards.
Yeah.
And didn't see another Frostbolt, another Fireball, or another Ice Lance.
Nope.
And that, he's just gonna go for the popping this block here.
Poppins block. Wait.
Does the because one of the boombots hasn't attacked yet.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, I would believe so, right? Yeah. Perfect.
Oh my gosh, this is such a brutal spot for Forsen. Even when he picks up the damage, he's just gonna get the bad news. Oh, wait a minute.
Oh. Wait a minute.
2.
If he can draw to some Ice Lances, we know that Thalnos can put some insane combos, you know? So wait. Thalnos... Wait, you have to use Ice Block to just use it, right?
Yeah, and Ice Block has to come down.
So, would you... I guess Fireball and Frostbolt is just the most damage. Yeah. That's unfortunate. Because Thalnos can't even be played here, I guess.
I think he's just got a Fireball, and then Ping, and then Ice Block.
Fireball, Ping, Ice Block?
Yeah, and just hope his opponent doesn't have the right range after that. Because that'll put him down to 10. And so then you have 2 ways to kill them, which is
right. But then you expect some heals like a Farseer, right? So wouldn't you just use the Frostbolt right now too, and just like hopefully you can Pyroblast next turn, because if you can't live for another turn, and it seems like Pyroblast is the most, it's the ender you have right now in your hand. Oh man.
We can see Deathlord's hand. We know that he can't live another turn, but he might be thinking something like, "What if my opponent doesn't have a Hellfire in his hand? So if he drew something like a Freeze, he could potentially stay alive for 1 more turn after that."
That's true. That's quite true. But man, just 3 healing spell in Deathlord's hand, just a bit too much.
You know, if he had Leroy Jenkins in a Freeze here, he might be able to pull this off. Because he could fill his opponent's board.
Oh my god, Leroy's
he could fill his opponent's
now?
he could fill his opponent's board and not let him cast Antique Healbot.
Oh man. So yeah, Fireball's gonna keep coming down here. Assuming the Frostbolt is gonna come down here. So Forsen is looking to use the Pyroblast to end the game, but Deathlord has some bad news.
Gosh, going up to 16 health.
That's daddy.
Oh, that's hard. It's gonna be heartbreak for him.
Oh man. Siphon Soul plus Farseer is also an option, but don't you just want to heal the most at this point of the game?
Yeah, I think he's just weighing all his options.
Oh boy.
Just implosion his face here.
But then you have no more space to play any more minions. Oh no.
When BM goes wrong.
Oh man. Forsen is gonna look. His face is gonna be pretty sad when this antique.
Is there any combination of cards he can draw to get out of this at this point?
Is there?
Both of his arcane intellects are gone now. That's just Flame Strike is certainly not going to be it.
Yeah,
even
because
though
it
a
is
well-fought
Hellfire,
series,
right? It's the Hellfire.
Even though a well-fought series, Forsen is going to fall 3 games to 2 to Deathlord, who is quickly racking up a big stream of wins through a lot of the best players that are out there.
Yeah, these matches they're definitely quite close. I have to say.
Whoa!
No, Frost Nova and Doomsayer, you can't do that.
Yeah, he's got to believe there's hope though. Like,
no.
you have to believe.
But that's not a play when Boombots are out. Boombots just ruin everybody's day. Yeah. You bring them to a party and they go get out.
Look, your opponent just has to not have a Hellfire or a way to kill a minion.
Okay, so just Frost Nova and pray basically.
Yeah, who plays ways to kill minions?
Oh, like nobody, right?
Yeah.
Oh man. Forsen's thinking of the good old times.
I wonder.
Back when Freeze Mage was invincible and Frost Nova cost mana.
Oh man. The final person. All right. Well, Deathlord does get to get this series. pick your poison, power overwhelming one of your boom bots. That works too, but no,
Yeah.
Forsen just quits.
Yeah, a well fought series, but just the end, just the anti Keelbot really pulling so much weight in this matchup. Freeze Mage is looking to deal pretty close to exactly 30 damage in a lot of its games.
That's true.
So when you can couple heals with pressure, that's one of the scenarios where you see Freeze Mage struggle a ton. Is either under so much pressure that they can't handle what's happening, or under enough pressure and then ways to back up their life total.
Yeah, that's true. And Naxxramas is funny because like Mad Scientist was a way to help Freeze Mage become like super like deck that works. But now Anti Keelbot is a way for people to counter Freeze Mage. So
Yeah.
Freeze Mage players definitely need to like kind of deal with it.
Yeah.
So now look.
Really,
Oh, go ahead.
well, it's a really big point in that game too was the Hellfire turn, where he chose the Hellfire to clear out a 2/2, a 2/1, and a 2/1.
Uh-huh.
Had he not done that, it just those minions would have added up to so much damage that Forsen actually might have had the reach to push through that game.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, well played by Delethor. He's gonna take the series 3-2 against Forsen, and it's gonna be advancing to the next match in the Rinnish brackets. For the Forsen boys out there, don't worry, Forsen is not out yet. He's gonna go to the losers brackets. We're gonna take a quick break right now. After we update the brackets, we still need to put Forsen on the right side there. But yeah, Brace in this tournament, by the way, are gonna be super fast. There's only gonna be 5-minute break between games. We want to get as much games as possible. So stay tuned. It is Amaz and Admirable here casting the Pinnacle 2 for you.